homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. Ruth herself experienced this sacrifice. She surrendered everything. She left her family. Somebody insisted that you have to go back. Bumalik ka na doon. Wala na yung asawa mo. Patay na. Your husband is already dead. And I want you to go back. My husband is dead. And your husband is dead. So I want you to go back. But she insisted to stay. And she went to a place that she was a stranger. She never knew about the place. But she left her father and her mother and even her own homeland. We did that actually. Pastor Bob, I was looking at them a while ago. They were not used to the island. No. When they came here, it was a tiny city. I don't know how they felt when they started to sail. Did you ride a crocodile?
Wait.
From mainland to here. This is not a place, but it was a great sacrifice. All of us in here, we're not used to this island. And when you came here, when I first stepped into this island, and I said it was just like Tigras to me. And I said, it's like Tigras. But I saw beautiful people in here with a good heart. I saw smile coming from the faces of everyone. And everyone is just like accommodating. And I like the party. Sister Julia was against it. It's because you're not attending the prayer meeting. And when you have a party here, you don't just go to the party. You also leave with something after the party. And in the Philippines, we don't do that. You know, we started doing it in the church, and then they said, "What kind of party is this? Like everyone ate, and then everyone can still bring home?" And I said, "Okay, we bring the U.S. to the Philippines because this is a culture." And you know, everything that we do here, it was really a shock for us. It is our culture. This place is not ours, and we have not been doing all the Hawaiian people did or that or do before now. We have never had those things, but probably we had this culture. But if you're gonna look back to where you came from, you still have that hunger and thirst of going back there and support and help. When they went there, secretly, surprisingly, it's not their culture. It's not the whole family's culture to do what we used to do in the Philippines, and it's really warm. But we are so thankful. The church is full of aircon. A huge place is aircon, and their kids enjoyed it. And actually, it was really a warm summertime. It's not really their country, but they have sacrificed to sacrifice because they have taken out of their resources, save it, and then give it to children and to the young people. And all the youth, they were so happy, and they were just telling us, when will they come back again? When will they come back again? And I'm really into this because I experienced it myself. I got out of the family when I turned 21, and I had to really surrender my personal connection with the family because of the call God has given me. Same thing, this is really biblical. When you're gonna get married, you step out of your family and build your home. There's a sacrifice, and this is a really sacrifice. Especially when you are being called by the Lord to do something in this church, when you do a ministry here, when there is you're anointed to do such office or ministry or position in the church, sometimes your family member will give you a big question. Even sometimes when you're going to give your offering, your tithes, your pledges, or whatever mission offering or whatever givings you're going to give, probably one of the members of the family will give you a big question. Just like in our church, there was a mother, and then she shared it to the pastoral staff, and then she got 3 kids, teenager actually, 21, 19, and 16. And you know, one of the sons was questioning the mother, and then the mother had decided to give 20,000 pesos to the church, and she has pledged them. And then she said, I am going to give this to the church because God called me. God has spoken to my heart that I'm going to give more than $400 to the church. That's not her tithes. I'm going to give it to the church, to God in the church. And then the son got mad actually. And then they fought. Yung anak inaway yung nanay. The son fought the mother. And I don't understand. The family is so good that the father is so anointed, servant, and his work is working as a seaman, and he wasn't there. But the mother said to the son, don't fight me because you are not my God. Can you say that to your son? Don't tell me what I'm going to do with the 20,000 is because God told me and you are not my God. Sabi niya, he told her son, you know what, son? I'm gonna tell you, you are only my son. You are not my God. And I really appreciated that. That was a big sacrifice. Telling her own son that you are only my son. You are not my God. It's hard to say that to your son. If your culture is not that kind of culture, probably your son and you will get separated. But she had all the power to say that because she heard it right. Now, the son started to post something on Facebook, the feeling that he had against the mother. And a lot of people rebuked this teenager on Facebook. And you know what had happened? Because the mother found out the motive of the son. Because the son wanted something in his room, and that is an air-conditioned unit. Just because of that air-conditioned unit, he messed up his life with God, and he messed up his life with the mother. With total disrespect. But the mother said, you can come to my room, son. You can sleep in my room, in our room. Because their room, I saw the room is really huge. And when they were still kids, everybody's, is left in that room. But this guy wanted something, but the son never thought that what the mother was doing is totally a call coming from God, and that was a sacrifice. You know, you're sending your kids to college and you're going to sacrifice that amount. You cannot do that if there was no call coming from God. It takes something coming from the Lord. It takes a word coming from God for you to really sacrifice and surrender your personal connection. Sometimes we have to do this. It's because if we're not going to do this, you don't know what will happen later on. You don't know what will happen later on. You just have to submit. I understand when we say sacrifice or obedience is better than sacrifice. I'm going to tell you that's really true, and I agree with that. That obedience is better than sacrifice. But when you're going to sacrifice, obedience is still connected. You cannot separate obedience and sacrifice, because when you're going to sacrifice, you have to obey. you have to obey. And everybody said amen. It's like Ruth. She obeyed God. And she was prospered by the Lord. She married somebody else who was rich. And actually, she was a lineage of Jesus Christ. Right? The line of Jesus Christ. Number 3, or letter C, involve your resources. When you're going to sacrifice, involve your resources. Don't forget that. And everybody said amen. Amen. I can hear you. Amen. Don't be stingy in this world. We got nothing in this world. These are all temporary. If you have all these resources here on earth, you can never bring all of these things. Just like the old man here in Hawaii, when he died, you know what happened? It's like I told you that, you know, he commanded the husband to gather all the money. So when he's gonna die, he said to the wife, I want all my money, put it inside the casket when I die. There was a news here in Hawaii. The wife obeyed the husband. And probably those people who work in the graveyard, you took out all the money from the grave and they got it all. You cannot bring these resources in heaven one of these days. Matthew 19:21, it says, Jesus answered, if you want to be perfect, go sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. If you're going to read all of these things, if you are so rich, super duper mega maxi over rich person, you're gonna say, I don't go for this. You would say, I don't go for this. Just like what Bill Gates, what he's been doing now. Bill Gates. Bill Gates is no longer the richest person in the whole world. In fact, the richest person in the whole world, I think, is not coming from here. It's from Mexico, if I remember it right. You know what Bill Gates is doing? He's giving his wealth to the poor. He's giving it to the poor, especially in Africa. He's just giving it all away because he's getting older. If you can see the face, he's really getting older. Because he knows that one day, if I'm going to die, you know, Uncle Sam will get all the money. And Trump is going to make use of that to, you know, to create or to invent or develop weapons. To create, to make a nuclear weapon. You know, to threaten those people who will threaten America. And we're gonna all die. And you know, that was a wise decision. For me, I said there's a lot of sacrifice. You know, he worked for that and he just gives it away. That's a great sacrifice. You know, selling it, involving your resources. So when you are going to sacrifice your leadership, sacrifice your life for this church, when you come here and minister, or sacrifice, give something for the mission, give something for the education ministry, give something for what? For any other ministries we have here. If you want to beautify this church, of course, give out something. And everybody said amen. Amen. Don't be stingy. Ako yung tinaimot, would you please, you know, try to fill your name. If it's really curved, has a curved name, it means in the Philippines says that you are stingy. And number 4, when you're going to sacrifice, this is, I want you to take this thing, like ready for any maltreatment. You will be bullied when you will sacrifice. You will be bullied, you will be maltreated. There will be mistreatment that you will receive from other people. The moment people will know what you're doing in your life when you sacrifice. In Ilocano, kahit po Ilocano, nagsasakripisyo kayo, kadagiti saan yung kakaano, kung tanda kayo, kadagiti, kung tanda kayo, dagiti kaan ano yun. Kapag yan yun. Ang klaseng Ilocano yun. Pag nagsasakripisyo kayo sa mga hindi nyo kaano-ano, yung mga kamag-anak ninyo, talagang ibubuli kayo. Sasabihin nila sa inyo, bakit sila pa? Kami ang kamag-anak, bakit sila o hindi kaano-ano? Di ba ganun? Nangyayari yun. Why? Bakit? Sila ba yung sila ba yung dahilan kung bakit kayo nagkasakripisyo? Of course, God. But God is talking to you and said that, oh, you have to give your resources or your money to the people in Africa. Kung yun ang narinig mo, you go do it. And here comes the relatives. The relatives will say, ang daming mga relatives na nangangailangan ng tulong, tapos sila pa, hindi pa ano-ano. They're not even blood related. And they're giving their time and their resources to these people. Wala silang awa. Sana maano na lang sila. Yeah, they started to even make curses. You know, you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready. Every time when we sacrifice, just like Jesus Christ, He was readying Himself. When He sacrificed His life on the cross, He knew exactly that He's going to really suffer. He's going to really feel all the pain and had the time to really cry out to the Father. That's why He said, Father, Father, why have you forsaken me? He had a great sacrifice for everybody else. And he was not just maltreated. He was bullied. And when you know in the school, I gotta use the word bully because there was no bully term yet before. How does a student, bully someone else? There's so many ways. They're gonna threaten them. You're gonna fight them. You're gonna put them down. They're gonna work together for the student or other student to lose their self-esteem until such time that the student cannot go to school anymore. Or it happens so many times. Even in the Philippines, there are so many people bullying other people. But if you are sacrificing your life, if you are sacrificing things in your life, ready yourself, you still have to stand and say, God, it's really happening. What has said it's gonna happen, now it's happening. But you have to stand with good character because that's a part of your sacrifices. And you will be maltreated by anybody else in this world when you are going to sacrifice. And everybody said amen. It was by faith said that Moses, when he grew up, refused to be called the son of the king of Egypt's daughter. He chose to suffer. Take note of this one. He chose to suffer with God's people instead of enjoying sin for a short time. He had a great decision of letting his life and others to suffer, to be maltreated. In other version, it says maltreatment. If there is something he said that I want to do, instead of enjoying sin, I would rather live with maltreatment coming from other people instead of doing sin. And it was a good decision that Moses had or made in his own life. And he thought it was better to suffer for the Christ than to have all the treasures of Egypt, because he was looking for God's reward. Looking for God's reward. But we are going to sacrifice despite the maltreatment that we're going to face. Take note. When people are bullying us when we sacrifice, think of the word reward. I'm going to have a reward in heaven. I'm going to have a reward in heaven. If you're going to bully me now, you will never have a reward in heaven. But I'll have a reward in heaven. So every time when you are being maltreated because of your sacrifices, forget about it. Just think about, Lord, I'm going to do it still and continue to do it because I have a great reward in heaven. Now let's take a look at this. I'm going to give you just a short time God's view of you and of your sacrifice. Now, if you're going to sacrifice, the Lord will call you. You are a delightful person. You are pleased when God is pleased when you are sacrificing. Hebrews 13:16 says, "But to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with sacrifice, God is well pleased." every time you sacrifice yourself to whoever, even to this church, God calls you delightful. You will be delightful to God. You may not be delightful or pleased, you don't please others, but you're pleasing the Lord.